kind of aggressive, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it was really aggressive, man.
All right, this is the Baylee's podcast. I'm Andrew.
I'm Troy.
And we're going to start off with... What year was it?
Oh, man. I want to say it was 2012. So...
That was the year the world was supposed to end. Do you remember that?
Was it?
Yeah, the Mayan calendar.
I thought that was 1999.
That might have been one. There's probably 100 years.
There was multiple different ones.
The Mayan calendar stopped on December something 2012, and everybody thought everybody was joking. Nobody took it seriously. Probably like 4 people in the world took it seriously, but that's what I remember about that.
Which one am I thinking about then? The 1990. It's on the tip of my tongue, dude. I hate it when my brain slips like this. Y2K. They remember Y2K?
That was 99?
Yeah, that's when supposedly the computers wouldn't be able to fucking switch over or something, and then, oh man, all the computers are going to crash, the world's going to end, whatever.
I heard about that.
You know, it didn't happen.
I was, I think I was probably 3 years old.
Damn.
I was probably 3 years old, but I heard about that. I think I asked my parents, I said, in 1999, when it was going to turn... It was the turn of the millennia.
Yeah.
What was everybody talking about? What was everybody doing? Everybody thought that the computers were going to shut down because the computer kept time, and the time, the date, the year,
right.
And they thought, I guess, correct me if I'm wrong, that computers wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, they thought that the calendar wouldn't be able to switch to. For some reason, they didn't think it could switch to 2000. I don't really know. I know it was big crock of shit. Mm-hmm. But it got a lot of attention, though.
Mm-hmm. So 2012, Marksville.
Yeah, so it was a little redneck town. I'm sure you know of it.
Mm-hmm.
2012, there was talks of a prison break.
Mm-hmm.
I had a pretty reliable source tell me this shit. There was 3 dudes. They were in lockdown. Mm-hmm. There's 3 cats, and I know one of the dudes. I know he was down for, I want to say murder, and rape or something crazy. Mm-hmm. So he was looking at life. There was another dude in there that was looking at like 18 years, and another idiot in there he didn't have much time. He was just one of them followers, Mm-hmm. So they planned this prison. I'm gonna say prison, more like a jailbreak. And if you're gonna plan a jailbreak, there's nowhere better to do it than Marksville. Mm-hmm. There's just, it's pretty free range over there, from what I hear. So these dudes got together and they plotted out. Okay, so how are we gonna do this? So they said, okay, well, it's gonna be like a 3 or 4 day process. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna check out. Like, they're gonna get on the door, act all crazy and shit, and I'm gonna check out and get thrown in the hole. And the hole is up front by the sliding door or whatever to get to Sallyport, to get out of the jail. So they acted their ass, and in 2 or 3 days, they all ended up in the hole up front, all of them together. Well, they waited for this certain guard to come on. Matter of fact, I'm going to tell you about him. He works at Walgreens. Yeah. I also seen him get his collarbone broke one time, too, in Marksville. But, yeah.
This is the guard.
Yeah, this was a guard, but he's not. When you think of prison guard, you're not going to depict this dude in your head. Mm-hmm. This dude is the opposite of what you think a prison guard would look like. But that Marksville was it was a.
It's kind of the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but it was more like a. It's not the kind of jail that it's not. It wasn't maximum security. Mm-hmm. That's for damn sure. Well. So these dudes all ended up in the hole, and they waited for this dude. We'll call him Gravy. Mm-hmm. It's really close to his name. We'll call him Gravy. So Gravy, they waited for Gravy to come on because he's kind of slow, and they were beating on the door talking about how they want some water. Mm-hmm. Well, Gravy went over there and opened the door, and they just grabbed him around the neck, took the keys off his side, mm-hmm. taped him up, threw him in a cell, locked the door. Mm-hmm. Straight out Sallyport, a little down the road. There was a Popeyes really close to the jail. They had a ride waiting for them, so it was pretty well thought out. Mm-hmm. Well, these dudes made it. They escaped. Okay. Had they not pulled some stupid shit off, they probably would have gotten away.
Mm-hmm. And you said this is 3 of them, right?
Yeah, it was 3 of them.
It was 3 of. How did they get out? Say they got out of their cell. How did they get out of the prison itself?
Okay, so when they checked out of their cell and got put in the I'm gonna say the whole. It's isolation. It's like a single tank up front. Mm-hmm. And that's if you act an ass, that's where they'll put you just to be an asshole, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, and it's right by the door that goes to Sallyport. And once you open that door, there's a garage door, and then you're out. You're free. There's no, yeah. Oh wow. So what they did was when they tendered up Gravy, mm-hmm. they locked him up. They locked him in there. They opened the door to outside, closed it, locked it, opened the garage door, and they were home free. It was probably less than a minute, dude.
Wow.
That it took, yeah.
Less than a minute. Yeah. Less than a minute for them to not only get out of their cell, but to then get outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh wow.
But well, altogether it was like a 3-day process because they couldn't all check out of the where they were at the same time. Mm-hmm. So like one day somebody would get on the door and just start cussing a guard out for no reason. They'd snatch him out, put him up in a hole. Next day another dude would do the same thing. They would snatch him out, put him in a hole.
Wait. Seriously?
Yeah.
But they wouldn't learn.
Well, no. It was this was their plan to get up close to the Sallyport door so they could get out. Know what I'm saying?
So you're talking about how they were cutting up so that they could both get,
so they could all get up front in that holding cell by the door.
Smart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was crazy, dude. So unfortunately, from what I hear, they got out and dude, they got away. They wanted to go and kill somebody. Mm-hmm. I think they killed a couple people or whatever. And one of the dudes that was, he wasn't looking at any time or whatever. I don't know if he was involved in any of the murders or whatever, but they did get caught. Again, they got recaptured. Mm-hmm. And it was sad because, dude, the way they planned it, and I mean, to this day, you could just walk out of the Marksville jail, dude. Mm-hmm. Depending on your status as an inmate or whatever, you just walk out, bro.
It's still that loose?
Yeah. So I actually did a little time there, you know. Mm-hmm. I don't think I was there when all that crap happened. It was just some stories I heard when I got there. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was folklore or whatever. It turns out it was true. Mm-hmm. But I had talked to a dude that was in there with him. Mm-hmm. That's how I got all my info. Mm-hmm. But the dorm I was in, I was a Class A trustee. I actually worked off the compound. Mm-hmm. Dude, yeah. I had a phone the whole time. I had a cell phone the whole time I was over there. I had a PSP. We had Xboxes in our cell.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was... I'm not going to say it was... Dude, you had a dude that escaped one night, went to a Saints game, and came back the next day.
They just let him out?
Yeah, well, so if you worked out at the mechanic shop or in Lana Garden, mm-hmm. It could be midnight. We could go over there and say, hey, I need to go to the shop for something. And they just bust the doors open and let us go. No questions asked. So this dude, he left early one morning. I was like 2 or 3 in the morning. He left, went to New Orleans for football. I think they were playing Atlanta or some shit. Mm-hmm. And he came back the next day.
Oh, wow.
He got in trouble. It was just a slap on the wrist because they knew he was coming back. But yeah, dude, shit like that really happened over there. It was crazy.
They're pretty laid back over there.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was. Well, like I said, now it when I first got there, they had just. It used to be an INS holding facility, so they used to hold Cubans and Colombians and Mexicans over there for like kind of like ICE, but it was called INS. Mm-hmm. And bro, they would have bloody knife fight, machete wars in that bitch. Like, yeah. Because for some reason, Mexicans don't get along with Cubans, and Cubans don't get along with Colombians. Like, they all hate each other.
Whoa. Yeah, I think I've heard something about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's pretty rough, dude.
Yeah, so these three guys that escaped, so they, one by one, they decided to act up, so they planned on getting into that cell together.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They planned on getting into isolation together because they knew that if
isolation, that's what I was looking for.
If they could get out of there, it would pretty much just be 1, 2, 3 to the outside.
Yeah.
Just 2 doors, that door, 2 more doors, and then in less than a minute they're outside.
Yeah. And they waited to the right guard would come on because he was slow. Like so when we get through with this, I'm gonna have to tell you how he got his collarbone broke. It's so fucking funny, dude.
He was slow. And you said he worked at the.
He works at the Walgreens over here. Yeah. Walgreens. Yeah. Right across from CVS. So
is that near or is that a different one?
No. So you get on right here and you go that way.
I know which one you're talking about.
Walgreens right there on the right.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And like he was. I can't believe he was a guard, but they hired some really special people at that place. I'm not sure if I should say this, but some of them were not. I'm not going to say they weren't bred correctly, but kind of like cousins on cousins type thing. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah,
not really sure how to.
So they didn't really have much of a strict hiring process.
No, a couple some of the lights were off in the attic, and you could definitely tell.
Yeah, I've dealt with people like that at my last job. When I worked in fabrication, the welding, fabrication, machining, all different types of manufacturing type deal stuff. They the joke was, if you can turn it on and turn it off, you're hired.
But can't you get hurt easy?
Yeah. There was a guy. He's not there anymore, which is good because he was the most dangerous guy there. He was in the most dangerous department too. It's shipping. So this shipping department, believe it or not, it is the most dangerous. And he would cut so many corners just to get it done quick.
Right.
He actually he doesn't work there anymore. He left voluntarily to go to another job, but
I'm sure he did.
But everybody would get to eat something cooked. It'd be something really good. I used to, when I worked there, we would go for a whole month, from the first to the next first. So it's June. So from June 1st to July 1st, if the whole shop goes that entire month without any injuries, if you cut yourself, like paper cut or whatever, that don't count. I mean, anything that, because guys have lost their fingers at that place. So if that happens, if you lose your finger, if you mash your finger, most of those, if you cut yourself too deep to where bone shows, or even close to that, that would count. We don't get anything to eat, and it's like they're not punishing us, they're rewarding us.
So it's just like incentive. Hey, don't.
It's incentive. Yeah. They would incentivize us to stay safe, but anytime we would lose out on it, it'd be because of this guy.
With this one individual.
Yeah.
Come on.
Now to give him. I mean, I did almost break his arm once. His arm once by accident. The chain, when I put the chain down onto the load, he had his arm twisted up into the chain, and I had pulled the crane up by accident. I meant to go down. I went up, and it almost.
So who's the most dangerous person at this job?
It's not me. It's this guy. Oh, it's this guy. Here's what happened. The day I got laid off, I didn't know I was getting laid off, but the day I got laid off, it was September 21st, 2020. September 21st, 2020. It was sometime after lunch. I'm assuming it was sometime after lunch. There's this gigantic claw on the gantry crane that picks up steel plates. And these plates are, I mean, if we're measuring by feet, it's 12 by 6. Mm-hmm. 12 by 6 trying.
Like steel plates?
Yeah, rectangles.
Oh,
rectangular.
Yeah. Wow, that's heavy too.
They will crush anything it sits on. So they designed this claw. The fabrication shop designed this claw to, when you operate it, you're holding 2 controllers.
Right.
So you're holding the controller to grab the plate, and then you got to hold the controller to move the crane up and down, east and west, north and south. So he picks it up. It's about a little bit above hip height, this plate, and he's moving it along the path to go bring it to the plasma area.
Right.
And now he doesn't know this, but he's in front, I'm in the back, and I'm moved because it's standard procedure, but a lot of us, more than one, so it'd be 2 or 3 of us would be behind it, making sure it doesn't sway too much,
right,
and swing around. Well, because he didn't know that I was behind, and I was in between this plate being moved by the claw, and then I was also on my right side was another stack of plates.
Oh shit.
And it was a good thing that this stack of plates that was to my right were also a little bit above hip height, because he moved it east. No. He moved it to the right, and it was pushing me into the plates that was to my right, so I was in between a stack.
So you were getting
yes, I was getting pinned.
You was getting pinned.
But I acted quickly. What I decided to do was to just hop up. You know how, like, if you hop up on the counter? I hopped up, like, to sit on a counter or sit on a bar. I hopped up and sat on the top of these plates. And this plate that was being carried passed over my legs.
Wow.
Which it
excuse me.
It probably caused, you know who OSHA is, right?
Yeah.
It caused every OSHA book in the nation to catch on fire immediately.
Yeah.
That was the biggest violation, or the biggest. I think my dad works there. I think he saw. I don't know if he didn't actually see the specifics, but him and another guy saw what had happened, and they didn't really know exactly.
Well, did you go back and look at the footage or something, or?
No. It ended up not being the biggest deal of that day, but
it was a big deal to you, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Well, what could have happened, and I didn't know this at the time, and I knew mainly because you're told to never put any part of your body under a suspended load.
Right.
That's beaten into you to never. Even when we cut corners to move like a block of wood from underneath a steel plate, we move it quickly, and within that 1 second, that your hand it tingles. Your hand will tingle if it's under a suspended load. It's like a sixth sense. You don't want it under there. So my whole legs were tingling, and I was nervous as hell, waiting for this to pass. It felt like 5 hours, but it passed over, and I was like, I got up, I kind of just made sure, look around, see who saw.
Dude, that's nuts.
Here's what could have happened. Now, I didn't know this. I was thinking, okay, it's under a suspended load. It's not going to drop on me.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't realize until later, because he decided to move it to the east. Wait. No, he moved it west. He moved it west. Because he moved it west, he could have decided to move it down. Because it was passing over me. It's gonna go over me. It's gonna be fine. But if he would have moved it down, I would have been crippled for the rest of my life. There was no
way out of that.
It would destroy my kneecaps completely. If he would have just 5 inches. If he would have moved that plate down 5 inches, I've been in a wheelchair for the rest of my life.
That's fucking great, dude. It almost, you can feel it in your stomach, like when you think about something like that. It's like, damn, that could have been it.
Yeah.
Or especially when you could have been in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of wheelchair.
Yeah, and my dad, I think he was there, but he didn't see the specifics. He saw kind of like, I was in like a vulnerable spot, but from his perspective, he did not see.
Oh, he was there when this happened?
He was passing by.
Okay,
he was passing
cool.
by. Him and some other guy were passing by and saw what happened, and saw that I was not in the most perfect spot with that load right there, and they were like, okay, but they did not know how much worse it was, because I had almost gotten my legs crushed.
Dude,
I told my dad later, and my dad, he's like, no, I don't want to hear it. You don't want to hear the story.
Yeah,
because it's that unnerving and unsettling.
Yeah, that's terrible, bro.
But yeah,
bro, what year was it that? Okay, so, and I might have to look it up. There was a bad storm come through here, one year, and I had ended up getting a job at the local zoo, at the zoo here in Alexandria, and this storm had come through, and we had people who volunteer because, dude, the big trees that have been there for 100 years were coming down, bro, and it was like destroying the zoo. So like I was one of the ones that volunteered. I stayed there overnight, and you know, because I wanted to help. Plus, it was. I want to say it was fun. It was fun to me. You know, it sucked seeing all the damage, but
it was like a movie.
Exactly like a movie. Well, we'll get into that movie specifics because this is one. Okay, so it was destroying one habitat after another. Like it was just they got the wolves out in time. They got the tigers out. Like they transferred a lot of the animals. Well, the one that they didn't get out of there, which they should have. Have you ever heard of a cassowary?
The most dangerous bird in the world.
Yes. So, for anybody that don't know, a cassowary, and you could look it up. It's a ostrich type bird with a blue neck, with a dome. He's got I forget the name of it. What is it they call the bone material? He's got a big dome on his head that's part of his. It's part of his skull. So we got a call on the radio. We was all hunkered down somewhere, and we got a call on the radio saying that the cassowary's habitat had been compromised. This is the words that was used now. Compromised. So the first thing that switched in my head was like, oh shit, Jurassic fucking Park, man. Here we go. So I was all excited at first, you know. We got on the golf carts and we went over there. Oh, bro, was when we got closer to the habitat, you know, I didn't see him. I didn't see this fucking bird. This bird is known to kill people, man. So it's windy, it's rainy, it's kind of dark out. It wasn't dark, but it wasn't light. It was that dreary, like horror type feel, you know. And so we're looking for this fucker. Nobody knows where he is. So we're like, hey, y'all, you got eyes on the bird, you know. Nobody had eyes on the bird. So, bro, we go to the spot where the habitat was compromised. A big ass tree had fell. I mean, it was completely destroyed. And I don't know how the hell we rigged it up to where we kept his ass in there. But come to find out, the fucker was stalking us. Like, this bird knew there was a way out, and I think he was waiting for one of us to get close enough. Because I look up, and he's just there. You know, he's not close enough to me to where he could do me any harm. But if he were to just run at me, well, there was nothing I could do about it. And I was the closest person to this bird at the time. So that would have been my ass. Hey, I'm going to get killed by a bird. I do not want to go out that way. You know, I don't want to go out by murder by animal anyway. But dude, that was really interesting. And all this mess, we ended up getting the cassowary's situation fixed, dude. And it just, I don't know, bro. When you look at a bird like this in his eyes, dude, you see a killer. It's like you can tell that something ain't right up there.
It's
like,
planning.
Yeah.
Like, it's planning and plotting.
And the only thing that I could compare it to was the way the raptors on Jurassic Park, the way they would plot and work together as a team. That's what it reminded me of. Now, if there would have been two birds in there, they would have killed us. Now, I think we would have been dead. All three of us. We would have been dead.
Well, if I remember correctly, the only reason why it didn't get you is because it didn't know where the exit was.
Right. Now, he was... So, the way he was following us, though, if he would have kept following it, like, if he would have followed the right person, he would have got to the exit. And then it would have been all she wrote. But, yeah, dude, one of the there was an iguana that was in this. You've been up to the zoo, right? Okay, by one of the bathrooms. Remember that glass casing that was there? The iguana was in. Well, that got crushed by a tree. We found that iguana a week later. Like, he was just chilling in a pine tree, you know.
Oh, he was free.
He was free, but you know, he still stayed around and shit. But yeah, that was a mess, dude. It caused a lot of damage, bro. A lot of damage. It was crazy. Man. Getting stalked by a bird.
I could imagine, and especially with something small like an iguana. So when you have all these enclosures and habitats that get compromised, and then you start the next day, sun's shining, everything's all calm. Pick up all the trees, clean up all the glass, fix all the fences and all the gates, and then you still have a missing iguana and probably some missing this and that.
Oh yeah.
What about some snakes that probably went missing too?
Yeah. Well, see that I believe that enclosure. That thing was safe. I want to say some gators got out. I do. Yeah, some of the gators got out. Mm-hmm. For the most part, the main thing I was worried about, well, really the only thing I was worried about was Hannah, the fucking white tiger. Mm-hmm. That bitch wanted to kill me, dude. She hated men for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. And if you had a beard, it was amplified by 10.
She hated men with beards.
She hated men with beards.
Men, period, but especially with beards.
Especially with beards, yes.
If you were a man, let's say you were a man without any facial hair, would she be able to determine a man from a woman?
I want to say yeah, because you could see all you had to do was stand back and watch how Hannah would act. Mm-hmm. Like, so if a woman would walk by or whatever, Hannah, she really didn't pay any attention. Well, if a dude would walk by, let's just say beardless, she would get up and kind of start stalking. Mm-hmm. Dude with a beard, she's going apeshit crazy, hitting the plexiglass, like going crazy, trying to get to you. Mm-hmm. Mm. Could you imagine what it would be like to be mauled to death by like a lion or a tiger, dude?
I don't want to imagine. No, I don't want to imagine that. No.
Bro, you remember that story where that? So these, it's like a known story or whatever. These people had got a chimpanzee when it was a baby, mm-hmm. and they raised it up. It ended up being like a 200 and something pound chimpanzee. Well, it was a man and a wife who got this thing. Well, the husband died. Mm-hmm. So the husband was like, I guess in the animal kingdom or whatever, it was the alpha male. So, well, the husband died, and the chimpanzee started acting funny. So the lady was doping him up, giving him Xanax and shit to try to, if you give Xanax also has a side effect to make you go nuts. Mm-hmm. I mean, really mean and aggressive.
Yeah.
Dude, this fucking chimpanzee bit this lady's finger. It attacked her one day. Went nuts. Ripped her face off. Mm-hmm. Bit her fingers off. Like literally, her face was torn off.
Yeah.
And there's pictures. Like, it's gruesome, dude.
I think I know which one you're talking about. I don't know if it was if there's multiple different, because this happens all the time. That's why I don't fuck with chimps. I don't fuck with chimps or mostly any monkeys at all, because apes for the most part, they're at least 10 times stronger than humans.
Yeah.
At least 10 times.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a hairless chimp?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a picture of a hairless chimp?
Yes.
They look like
fucking ripped.
See, the thing is that their build is not like bodybuilder type build. Maybe a gorilla, yes, but a hairless chimp looks more like lean, muscular.
Yeah.
And their muscles are dense.
Really?
Their muscles are dense. They may be. I mean, they got shape there, but they're not big. Like it's not like they're roided up or anything.
Yeah.
But they got dense muscle fibers. And they have to, because they have incredible upper body strength.
Right.
So much so that they can tear a limb off of anyone that crosses.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So how about this little thing that do you think 100 men could take out a silverback gorilla?
What? 100?
100 men.
It's possible. I think I don't want to sound dumb, because here's the thing: gorillas are very strong, but if it's one at a time, the gorilla's not going to get tired. But if it's all at once, which is the hypothetical scenario, 100 men all at once, I think the gorilla will win unless one of them goes for the eyes.
Really?
Yeah. If one of the men were to go for the gorilla's eyes, I think that it would. The men would win. But if it's just like rules and punches and regular, if there's no playing dirty, then the gorilla's going to win 100%.
Well, I mean, and I'm with you on that. I think the only way to possibly win is for the dudes to work together, devise a plan, and attack it, because somebody's going to die. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, you're going to lose. There's probably going to be a few people out of the 100 that's going to bite the dust.
Yeah.
But if you and I hate to say it, man, you're going to set up your pawns, You know, and while your pawns are in there, you're gonna send your bishop.
Yeah.
And then the king,
front line.
Yeah,
there's going to be a front line.
There's definitely gonna be a front line. So most of the front line is probably gonna bite the dust because the guerrilla's not gonna get tired. But like you said, if you have somebody going and do specific things like attack, like if you kick a guerrilla in the nuts, do you think it'll hurt him? Like, is that something that?
Oh yeah, it would hurt. I don't know if it'll phase him though. Have you ever seen? I think I saw a video of a bear. You know what video I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was great, dude.
There was a. Well, I'm gonna say it anyway. There was a video of this. It wasn't a grizzly. I think it was a black bear. It was some. I've seen those bears.
Was it a grizzly? I don't. It might have been a black bear, but I know it looked like. I think it was a brown bear.
Brown bear. Yeah. It's grizzly bears. I mean, no one wants to fuck with grizzly bear.
No.
You can live around. Like there's bears in Tennessee. When my family and I went to Tennessee, there was bears. It was in the mountains, so there was bears all over.
But they got them here.
They're dangerous. You don't want to go and fuck with them. But
right.
they tend to mind their own business.
Yeah, for the most part.
You know, you mind your own business, they'll mind their own business. For the most part, they do like to dig and trash and fuck shit up. But this bear in this video, he was walking, and I think like some plastic tie thing had swung around.
Yeah, I think it was like a steel cable or something.
It was some sturdy, stiff cable that swung around and hit him in the nuts. Perfectly in the nuts. And the bear's reaction was funny.
Yeah, it almost reminded me of like if a man gets hit in the nuts, he grabs his shit. It's almost what the bear did.
Yeah.
And then the bear was rolling around on the ground all in pain.
Yeah, it's not funny because you feel bad, but it's funny because you can relate to it.
Right.
You can relate to that because you can tell the bear was not pleasant with how that felt.
So the reason I asked that about if you kick a gorilla in the nuts, because when you send the men in there to attack this thing, you have to come with your A game.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like if you could give him a swift kick in the old berries, you know, and have somebody go upstairs to the eyes, and like you said, you'd have to get his eyes.
Yeah, but it's a double-edged sword because any move like that, like going for the nuts, going for the eyes, those two moves are very effective, but they're also very effective at pissing that gorilla off even more.
Yeah, because you don't know if he's got so much adrenaline pumping where he's just not going to feel that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
So...
And I don't even think I'd want to fight a blind fucking gorilla. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight a blind gorilla because that gorilla still fucking whip your ass.
Yeah. There's speaking of strength, superhuman strength. There was back in 2022 when I was working at and if I say any names or anything that's going to be on this podcast, I am going to bleep them off.
Okay.
So I'm gonna name drop, but I'll just bleep them. But you know who.
Yeah.
So her ex, so she has 2 or 3 children with this guy. I don't know but she has children with this one guy, and this guy was, as far as what I know, he was on some crazy drugs, and from what I heard or what I think I remember, if I remember correctly, it is meth.
Okay.
And he, according to, from my perspective, he was calling her, leaving voicemails, screaming and shouting at the top of her lungs. And his reaction to this drug, whatever he was taking, was had caused him to react just out of anger. Like he would take it. You know how some people get drunk and they're all friendly, and then other people get drunk, they get loud.
Right.
Well, people have different reactions to all drugs, including meth, and I think his reaction to it was he would just get angry and pissed off and have anger issues with it. I was told that there is nobody in the world that could match the amount of strength that meth can give somebody. So if you take meth, so anybody takes meth, they have what can only be if you look at the amount of strength that a guy on meth has, because they can stay up for days and days and days and days and days on the street, right? They have superhuman strength.
I don't know. Well, so when you stay up day after day after day, it wears your body down, like to I don't know, dude. I haven't quite heard any any stories besides somebody just going psycho and being all paranoid and shit like that. I have heard of people getting like surges of adrenaline where something would happen, a baby or something would be stuck in a car would be on fire, or somebody gets stuck under a car, and people have actually lifted the car to get them, but then the whole side of their body would be bruised or whatever. Like, I've heard some crazy shit like that. I don't know how true it is, but
I've heard about that. I believe that. But yeah, I heard that it can give someone pretty much. Funnily enough, if you put it like this, I was told if there's a guy that wants to fight him, he's on meth. Anything you do would just piss him off.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Well, they used that shit in one of the wars. I think it was World War II. Mm-hmm. They had used amphetamine to make the soldiers faster, stronger, stay up for longer periods.
There was one guy. This was I remember the exact date, June 13th, 2021. So this was a Sunday, and that is gonna matter. So I was working at the little, and I had stayed up all night. I couldn't sleep. Mm-hmm. So by this point, I was already awake for more than 24 hours, and once I get to 20 hours of being awake, that's when I start to feel it.
And you do this naturally, right? Like, no drugs or nothing. You're just staying up.
No, yes. I mean, maybe caffeine. In fact, back then I was drinking a lot of caffeine.
Okay.
But I got to work. Well, okay. So that Saturday, I left. I went home. I couldn't sleep. So I go there in the morning. I wasn't even supposed to. I don't even think I was supposed to work there in the morning. But I just showed up, and just was like, I want to work. So I just showed up and worked.
Yeah.
I did a double that day, because I ended up making dough and then moving from area to area. And by the time we got busy, I was working the register. And we got so busy, it was unbelievable. This was on a Sunday. We don't get this busy on Sundays.
Right.
Unless there's some crazy football game or whatever going on, we don't get this busy. We got so busy. I still don't even know why we were that busy. But this guy comes in. This some white guy, probably 5'8" at the tallest. Mm-hmm. He's got a big beard. And he comes in and and because I'm working the register, he tells me, he said, my wife came through the drive-thru about an hour ago, and she told me that you had threw crazy bread at her through the window, and that crazy bread had spilled into the car all over the place, so much so that when she got home, she was crying and upset, and I had to dig. And as he's saying these, he's getting louder and louder and louder and louder. He said, I had to dig crazy bread out the fucking seat. And if you were to disrespect me, I might have let it slide. But you disrespected my wife. And I'm not going to let a punk motherfucker disrespect my wife like that.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And by this point, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get a word in. I couldn't get a word in. Every time he's talking. I'm trying to stop him. I'm trying to say, I got questions.
Yeah.
I got questions.
I bet you do.
By the time he called me a punk motherfucker and said I was a manager at this point. But there was another manager working at the time. She comes over and she tries to stop it. She tries to calm him down. I wasn't going to calm him down. I couldn't say shit to him. Couldn't calm him down. He already made the decision that he was mad at me. Yeah. So he was like, okay, what are we going to do to resolve this? I was handling another customer in the drive because he came in to the lobby.
Well, do you recognize the car? Did you recognize the lady he was talking about or whatever? Or
No. Well, that was one of the questions I had for him. It was pointless anyway because I wasn't going to spend an hour trying to describe this woman you're talking about.
Right.
He heard this from her. He wasn't there. She came by herself and then went back to tell him this story. I can't really give an explanation as to why she would do that, but I can tell you that is not. Everybody's been angry at customers before. Everybody's been, in a bad mood at the register, who's worked in customer service.
Yeah.
Everybody's dealt with it, but I have never thrown anything at a customer, ever.
Right.
And to prove my point, I still kept my job. The boss found out about it. She checked the cameras and she saw nothing that I did wrong. But what this manager did to solve his problem was, she said I asked her, okay, what did you do? Oh, I couldn't do anything other than give him corporate phone number. That's all he wanted. He didn't want. I told him, or no, I think she told him, hey, let me give you another. Don't want more crazy bread. Just give me a corporate phone number. And she gave him a corporate phone number, and that was the end of it. I never saw him again. Never heard anything about it.
Never heard from corporate or nothing.
Never heard from corporate. I don't know what he was talking about.
So you never got your questions in. You never got to do none of that shit.
But I can tell you what. If I did what he said I did to his wife, I would have been fired. I wasn't fired.
Well, yeah. I mean, but dude, that's as bad as you would hate your job sometimes in customer service, because I've been there myself, especially at Blockbuster. But dude, as mad as you get, you got to be real special or real, let's say, stupid to just sit there and throw something at a customer. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's happened before with. I said I would have gotten fired, and I probably would have back then. I would have gotten fired, but there has been one manager that got demoted. She got demoted down to a crew. Well, she started as a crew, promoted to a manager, and then got demoted because. Well, no, she didn't throw anything. She a customer copped an attitude, and then she copped an attitude back, got demoted. But there was a manager. There was two managers there one time when I had left. So
yeah.
You ever met?
I don't know.
Okay, so his husband, I don't know if they're back together because I know they split up, but husband's sister is a manager that used to work there.
Okay.
So they were both there one time on a shift, and let's see, I can't remember which one it was that threw, because one lady came in and threw bread. Bread, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And then just picked the bag back up and threw it right back at her.
Really?
I don't think she got in trouble for that, but the witness, and I don't know if you never met. There was one time when I was there, and this girl that I ended up dating, it was this girl. I ended up dating her, and then later, and then and me. So this woman came in, and she was complaining about this. So I went outside, talked to her, and then I was like, oh no, I'll solve the problem. She was like, okay. So I went in, and when I came back out with her pizza to solve, here you go, I'll give you this when it's on the house.
Yeah.
She was like, wait a minute. What the fuck was that girl laughing at in there? Because she was parked up front. She could see through the window.
Yeah.
What the fuck was she laughing at? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. This was not. This was. And I worked there at that time. But she's like, what the fuck was she laughing at? She told me that she was going to get out of her car, go in there behind the counter, and smack the piss out of her. And I was like, good luck with that. She never did. I knew she wasn't going to do that.
Right.
I was like, okay, well, have a nice one. Standard, whatever.
Yeah.
So I go in there and I say, yeah, she wanted to come in and smack the piss out of you. And then she's right there. Oh, let her. Go, tell her to come back. Tell her to come back in here and start it.
Yeah, you don't.
Oh yeah, she was ready for that. That's just how she is.
Right.
But yeah. Okay.
Do we? Oh.